Have you ever been stuck? Like, do you feel stuck? Like you're not making any progress and you want to make progress in your life or your business? Wonder if I told you that the key to unlocking your true potential or success is simply as powerful as this, accountability. Yes, accountability. Today we're going to be diving in to the power of accountability, how it can transform your life, and why it's owning your actions is crucial to your personal and professional growth. See, I want to thank you so much for coming here. I am Dr. Cheryl Clark, and I'll be taking you through this journey. And if you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. Go ahead and share, because this video is going to really show you how accountability isn't just about taking responsibility for your actions. It's about creating a mindset that leads you to continuous improvement, continuous trust, and continuous you being your authentic self for real success. So come on and dive in with me today. You know what I always do? I always start with my pen and pad. So go ahead and get yours out as I set my board up here. And so you can follow along with me because I'll be writing some notes down. And then you can guide this when you go ahead on your own. So let's start. Let's define what accountability really is. Let me bring my camera up a little bit so you can actually see everything. What is accountability? Account, spell accountability right first. Accountability. What is accountability? Accountability defines itself. Let's start with the real meaning. It's owning your actions, owning your stuff. Yes, that's what accountability is. It's owning your action. So it's owning your actions. Your actions. It's a willingness to say, that was me. That's a willingness to say, I take responsibility for that. And whatever the outcome that you created. Because it's important that accountability is what matters, is the foundation that the trust. Someone can trust you, whether it's a relationship, your business, or with even yourself. Because when you consistently show up in your actions with people, they know they can rely on you, which includes yourself. So accountability is that thing that you can step into leadership even in your home, wherever it is. Accountability is a crucial part of you moving in with at your job, at your home. It requires you to do the same thing, and it requires you to take account. See, you may be that person, or I will say this, the person that procrastinates, that person that, is a last minute person. And that person that says, oh, what, I'll get to it, or, I'll get to it. And the thing is, you got to take ownership of that, because people will begin to see you as she may not be or he may not be reliable. And you got to look at when you are leaving something for the last minute, or sign up for something, or doing something, and you don't take accountability and you don't do it, people see you as that. So accountability is you owning it. How did I get in this financial strait? I gotta own it. What happened to me? I gotta own it. I didn't finish classes. I didn't graduate. I gotta own that. You gotta take the ownership. Now let's talk about the impact of how this looks, accountability in your personal growth, right? So now that you owned it through your actions, right? Owning your actions. Now let's talk about the personal growth that can happen from you being accountable. So let's go to your personal growth. All right. So in this personal growth, you need to do, you know what I like to do? Self-reflection. Your personal growth means or begins with you holding yourself accountable. You have to hold your space for self-reflection. This means that you regularly ask yourself, what am I doing? Where can I improve? What am I avoiding? See, this the self-reflection is necessary because now it's self-reflection will turn in, self-reflection then turns into self-awareness. And sometimes we don't have self-awareness. So with personal growth, it turns into self-reflection, turns into self-awareness. And you start asking yourself questions. See, and when I used to see a lot of clients, a lot of it is about exploring, right? And exploring through that, we understand through questions. Because sometimes you don't ask yourself questions about what's really happening. And we learn from us actually looking at it. Listen, when you look at it, mistakes are inevitable. You're going to make errors. You're going to fail at things. That is inevitable. But accountability allows you to turn those errors, those failures, those mistakes in learning opportunities. Instead of you deflecting on blaming someone outside of yourself, owning your mistakes helps you learn faster to move forward for greater confidence. See, learning from your mistakes says, okay, I'm going to take this and I'm going to show how can I learn from this. So learning from it, when you are self-aware, now it's going to take you into learning from it through questions. So you got to ask yourself the questions like we just talked about. What did I learn? What am I doing well? How can I improve that? Who am I blaming? Do I blame someone? Or am I actually looking at myself? The last thing I want you to do, and not the last thing, but this is another one here. I want you to begin to look at how to build self-confidence and self-trust. I'm going to say build self-trust. And building self-trust is allowing yourself to be committed, no matter how small, no matter how big, but trust yourself. The self-trust is crucial to reinforcing your beliefs that you're capable of achieving your goals. And that trust, if you don't trust yourself, how are you going to begin to move into a business or move on a team? If you can't trust yourself, how others are going to trust you? So it's important for accountability is trusting yourself is important. So let me give you some tips about how you can practice. There's some just practical things that you can put in for building accountability. First, the first thing, and let me just be clear, because I don't want you to take this as, oh, accountability is something that I really can't do or I can't do whatever. See, when you talk about accountability, that's a vulnerable space there. Let me just talk about that. It's so vulnerable because it takes you real courage to take account, right? Accountability isn't about the blame and the shame game. It's really about taking the responsibility and the ownership of your actions, your stories, all of that, and standing in your truth, standing in your power, speaking your truth. This is what the Speak Your Power Now channel is all about. Movement is all about. It's about saying that that this is mine and I own it. Whether it's a success or whether it's a mistake, whether it's an error, whether it's a failure, it's about understanding that accountability is those words that you got to really look at. And sometimes accountability really makes us squirm and out, like, makes us like wring our hands and like, you know, but it requires us, because it requires us to be vulnerable in that moment. And honestly, it's about how you can now be honest with your choices and acknowledgement, because those things can impact your relationships with others. See, here's the thing. Without accountability, we can't build trust. Without accountability, we can't build connections. Without accountability, we can't even have meaningful relationships, whether at work or with our families, it doesn't matter. See, the role of accountability is owning our actions. So we can get to the part of getting these strategic things going on, right? That means that we have to be willing to step out of our discomfort and be vulnerable and say, hey, I made a mistake. Hey, I didn't know, I didn't keep my word. Oh, that was hard. It builds up in you growing. And then you get a chance to own your stories and even your parts of your mess. We have the power to begin a new story. Accountability to grow. It doesn't just come right away, but it's your willingness to begin to step into that. Because this is your opportunity where you can see how, if I am who I am, and how I can now move in a space where I know that there is nothing that can stop me if I own it. And being self-accountable is actually important, because you're being accountable for yourself, to set clear goals, to set deadlines and set responsibilities and then keep them. But we know that there's a couple of difference here, and I want to talk about when I introduce accountability, and you may squirm a little bit. I just want you to look at 3 areas of accountability, right? Now, when we give you the strategies, and I want you to look at it, but there's 3 areas of accountability. There's self-accountability, there is external accountabilities, and the last one is your habit accountability. Accountability of your habits. And I'm going to go through each one. So, self-accountability, just like it sounds, is explaining the importance of being accountable to oneself. So if you set a goal for yourself, or deadlines for yourself, or what you're doing for yourself, those are very important avenues. That's why I said trust in yourself. The external accountability is your role of your partners, your family, your friends, your community, things of that. Keeping yourself on track with that. Now, your habit is the accountability is fixed. It's something that you have a habit, and you've cultivated this habit over time, and you have to take accountability. Maybe your habit is not working anymore for you. Maybe you're a procrastinator, right? And then maybe you procrastinate, meaning that you leave things to the last minute, or you avoid real life things, like, or you avoid things to the last minute because you don't like stress or things of that nature. So when you look at it, I want you to look at what are your habits that may be impeding you being your best self. Now, prioritizing this is absolutely necessary for you to look at this. Now, the first thing you can do for the first strategy is, after you have looked at yourself and asked yourself these questions, know what accountability is, the first step is setting a clear goal, right? Setting a clear goal. And if you notice, I said setting a clear goal, because sometimes our goals can be all over the place. So setting a clear goal that you could be accountable for. It has to be clear, it has to be achievable, it can't be erroneous. It can't be something that you have never done before. Let's say I'm gonna lose 50 pounds in 3 weeks, and that's just unrealistic, and it's just gonna cause you a space where it may have angst and it may not go right. Right? So don't do that to yourself. You can't be accountable for maybe 10 pounds, but you're going to be accountable for 50 pounds. So we got to look at those things. Oh, I'm going to save $3,000 in a matter of 3 weeks. How much do you even make? Are you accountable for what comes in? So you got to look at those things, right? When you are now vague on your goals, it's easy to let things slide. So be specific of what you're desiring, how you achieving the deadline, right? So for instance, if you want to say in I want to work out 3 times a week, 30-minute sessions. So clearly give yourself something tangible to do. If that's something that you know is in your wheelhouse to do, who is your accountability partner? Accountability partners are really good too, because they keep you on task. And I want to say there's some psychological things that happen to us when we kind of like set a goal. When we set a goal, the psychological factors are you're going to fear failure or perfectionism, or just don't do it at all, or feeling overwhelmed. So when you set a goal, just normalize the fact that there may be some psychological things there that may happen for you. This is why having an accountability partner is really good, because what happens is it allows you to normalize it, and it allows you to go forward in achieving those goals more effectively. So when it's clear, and then you can break it down to smaller goals and manageable goals, it takes less for you to be overwhelmed, right? And in that specific small like chunk life, I call it my chunking it. That's when you chunk it, you're saying, okay, I'm able to do this. I'm able to do this. Okay, great. Even if you make a mistake, even if you're not going to be able to show up, you'll be able to now talk about it. You should be. And if not, you'll be able to see how you can now shift it, right? It's important for you to do that. Also, the second thing is, after we have set the clear goal, whatever that goal is, it doesn't matter what the goal is, set the clear goal. I need to do daily check-ins. Daily check-ins. Why daily check-ins? Daily check-ins, when you incorporate this daily or weekly, I like the daily check-ins because then you can actually see yourself. Because the accountability is that now you are, whether you're checking in with your partner daily, weekly, or whatever it helps you stay on track, because then you're going to see any adjustments that you need to do. Because when you are doing this, you can now say, all right, I need to pause and shift this because this is not working. That's accountability. You need to write down what is working and what is not working, and do the actionable steps. Because when you don't do those steps, what tends to happen, your habits get in the way. If you're a last minute person, those are your habits. You got to take accountability for that. No shame, no gain. But you got to look at what that looks like for you. Accountability is just a tool for you to manage it. The accountability for partner is just a tool to keep you abreast, to keep you committed to what you decided you were going to do. Remember, this is your life. You're creating all of this so you can be able to demonstrate it and walk it out. So if you're deciding that you wanted to, this means anything to you, how am I going to do this? How am I going to move through this? If you're desiring to buy that car and you have not saved enough money, how can I put myself in a situation where I can reasonably save for the car and do what I need to do? Those are the things that you can check in with your accountability partner. And these tools are here just to be understanding what that looks like. Also, the habit thing I wanted to talk about just a little bit. When you use a tool, you maybe can use a tool or app or something, a simple habit tracker of what you do that works for you, because a lot of us have habits that we don't really recognize that we do have. There's things that we have done throughout our lives that we don't know that habit has really been holding us back. So we have a habit of starting something and not completing. That's a habit. We have a habit of maybe blaming someone else and we don't take accountability. That's a habit. We have a habit of being constantly late. That's a habit. We got to look at what we're doing. And being able to do that is now we're looking at who we are. Because we got to see what works for us. We start something, we stop it. We got to look at it. And when I talked about your accountability partner, this is 3, accountability partner. So you want to get accountability. Now, this accountability partner is a person that's going to keep you abreast of everything. And when this accountability partner has to be someone that's not going to be judgmental. And it has to be somebody that can be regularly checking in with no judgment, but it's assertive and firm that you said this. But it's kind enough to be able to now say, listen, if you want to do this and you agreed to do this with me, it got to be an agreement. So say if you use a friend, you want to do this friend, you have to agree, this person has to agree, and you have to be willing to share in the accountability that keeps you there. Because remember, this person wants to see you win. If you choose this person, sometimes I don't think spouses, if you use your spouse, if you use somebody close to you, you may get a little argument. If you're really good at it, you have a mature relationship, go for it. But if you don't have a mature relationship and you want your marriage to work, I don't think you maybe should use your partner. That's just my opinion. At times, a girlfriend will work, a good friend will work, someone that can, really keep your account. So let's just bring this all together. And I hope you got something from this. And I hope you wrote down some good notes. You can always go back and look at it. So as we summarize it and understanding what the power of accountability does. The power of accountability first creates the bigger picture for you, just a bigger picture, an individual practice. It's an individual practice, but it's something that can transform your life. When you learn how to be accountable to yourself, to your community, to your team at work, to your organizations, to your family, everyone wins. Everyone. Because when everyone is accountable for everything, it leads to stronger teams, better communication, and success overall. And when you think about accountability for your own life, you can naturally begin to influence others around you. Now this one I want to tread very lightly on. You don't have control of anybody else taking accountability. The only thing you can do right there in your family, your workplace, or community is commitment in your own self to take accountability. And this may inspire others to do it as well, or may not. But I don't want you to be pigeon-toed into that. But I want you to look at how you could take accountability, because these practical steps are just what they are. They're practical. They're able for you to implement them today. And just to be able to look at who you are. So I want you to actually take note, as in this moment, I just want you to reflect where you are in your life with taking accountability, where you are in your life when you have avoided taking accountability and responsibility. How can you start taking ownership today? You could use some of these things. Just remember that accountability is a practice. So start small. Be consistent. Yes, you're going to be vulnerable. Yes, it's going to bring up some feelings for you. But I want you to look at how you can take today and understand that accountability is a practice. And you can build the life you desire. You can have success. that personal growth in your community, whatever it is, your professional life, because accountability is more than just a word that when you hear, you swerve or you free or you freeze. It's a powerful tool that can unlock your potential, your strengths, new relationships, and it truly can propel you to your next. Owning your actions. Let's start owning our actions today. Take responsibility. You will find that the results that you want, you desire, that you're speaking about is first ownership, not the blame game. Listen, if you found this video very helpful, please give it a thumbs up. Go subscribe, consider subscribing, share it, because this content that I usually put here about speaking your power now is all about your personal growth and success. And if you're ready to take action, drop a comment, tell me what you think, tell me what type of stuff is holding you back from being accountable today. Let's make accountability a part of our everyday lives. And speaking our power now is all about that. So come join the movement. Thank you. Remember, your life is defined by one single moment. So let that moment be today. Peace and see you next time.